As the years pass by, most of us accumulate and establish ourselves upon negative mindsets, which can lead to depression. It starts as a negative thought, often rooted in self-condemnation, also called self-doubt. When we think less of ourselves, when we doubt our ability, even when we have sufficient experience or qualifications, and when we don't forgive ourselves after making mistakes, when we believe or say to ourselves that I'm no good, that I'm a fool, that I'm an idiot, the negativity spreads until it overtakes who we are and casts a shadow over our true selves. The purity of our uniqueness, how God created us, becomes stained when we deny who we are. We then become tired, hopeless, and depression creeps in. From my personal battles and experience, I have been motivated by 3 steps that I identified in the book of Jeremiah chapter 1 to overcoming depression and breaking the cycle of negative mindsets. The first step is to uproot. The second step is to destroy, and the third step is to plant. Uproot, destroy, and plant. To uproot, we must get to the root of our destructive mindset. Ask yourself, what lie am I believing? Lies come in all shapes and sizes. They can be superstitions like, I cannot function without a particular person, a thing, or without my environment being in a certain way. Maybe you feel like you can't live without a man or a woman, that you can't function without a drink or even drugs. Or do you believe that you can't be happy without constantly shopping for new clothes or gadgets? Do you need stuff for every eventuality to feel safe and prepared? These are some of the mindsets that get us depressed, when we feel we need things, stuff, and people in our lives to be happy. We make these things gods in our lives, and we devalue ourselves when we don't have them. To uproot these mindsets, we need to first acknowledge that we have a problem, admit that we are depressed. The Bible says that we should confess our problems to one another, whether it's to a friend or a professional. That's why Romans 10:10 teaches that first believe, admit, and then confess. This leads to the second step, to destroy. We destroy by declaring with our mouth what is right to believe. Joshua 1:8 teaches that highest form of meditation is to mutter. Mutter quietly to yourself what is positive. I can do all things I set my mind to, according to the power of ability given me. I am born to do this. I will achieve this goal. I won't be distracted by the journey of other people. Proverbs say that a man's unique gift will make room for him in life and present him before kings. Personal responsibility is taking charge of your mind, declaring what you believe is right, and swapping those negative thoughts with positive ones. Which leads to the third and last step, planting. It's not enough to speak positive thoughts when everything around you is fine. We need to be able to speak them and hang on to them in the turmoil of life. Find out what God says is true in the area and declare it. Keep affirming the truth until it is part of you, and take any opportunity that presents itself to act out in the new positive mindset. Affirm and act. Remember that faith without action is dead. So when something happens that would normally trigger you to break down or get stressed and overwhelmed and speak negatively about yourself, use the opportunity to forgive yourself and affirm what is good, what is positive. When you would normally reach out for a crutch, like have a drink or a smoke or seek unhealthy companionship, recalibrate your mind. Don't let nature, which is your environment, nurture you negatively. Depression is usually planted from how we respond in our mind to our environment. It can be anything from falling behind in work, lacking money, to not being able to have a family, or not being part of a certain social circle, especially for young people, that is, and so on and so forth. It's the way our mind responds to our environment. There are, of course, times when our actual brain is sick, which affects our mind. This is clinical depression, and these cases are usually able to be treated medically. But for the vast majority of us, depression sits in our mind. Use the word. Speaking to yourself is what Bible meditation is all about. In a quiet place, gently swap those negative thoughts with positive ones. Joshua chapter 1 says to meditate on God's word in day and night. And Apostle Paul in Romans chapter 12 says that renew your mind daily. Meditation is not just about being quiet, but about being still, undistracted, and muttering. A word spoken to yourself is always greater than a word thought. That's why Jesus said the words we speak are spirit and life, because they have power to shape our life both now and in the future. When you feel doubtful and afraid or overwhelmed, Speak the right thing quietly to yourself. Mutter them under your breath. That is what meditation is. You are now planting new seeds inside of you. You have embarked on a new you. Water it with truth. Act it out whenever you have a chance to, and watch it yield beauty. 1 Corinthians 5:17 speaks of the new man. The new version of you needs a new mindset. You set it with your words, and after a while, the words become flesh, become second nature. These are the 3 steps in overcoming a negative mindset. Uproot, destroy, and plant. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe if you would like a notification of the next message. Thank you.